Hello, guys. What's going on? So, my name's Kayla, and I wanted to start sharing with you guys about what it's like to be a starseed, what it means to be a starseed, and some of the missions that starseeds have. So, let's jump into it. Um, what exactly is a starseed? So, a starseed is someone that basically comes to Earth with a specific mission. Um, Now, we don't always know this right away, but it is something that we develop and awaken to. So, yes, so we have a divine purpose. Many of us feel like we are angels and that we have already ascended and that we have come back to help humanity on a divine mission called by the higher powers. So, we're like ground crew and yeah, so let's get into it. Another thing that star seeds do is we are trying to increase the higher states of consciousness on this planet. So each and every one of us have our own specific message to share, and we have our own specific blueprint that is designed and seeded around the planet to help awaken humanity and essentially bring more peace and healing and unity to everyone. Okay, so um, we also believe that we come from the stars. A lot of us have had many lifetimes here on Earth, and some of us haven't. But all of us are pretty old souls. So we've been around for a while. We've had a lot of experiences, both here and in other places. So pretty awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna go into my story. So I grew up in a pretty diverse town. I have parents that really didn't have a whole lot of rules. I got to have a lot of freedom in my life. My dad taught me about reincarnation when I was probably about 4 or 5, and when I was in high school, early high school, I started um, looking into some of his spiritual books that he had. So he had books on um, out of body travel, astral projection, past lives, um, and the Celestine prophecy was another one that he had. And so I started getting into these books and learning about it, which kind of jolted me off into a whole spiritual path. I began studying different religions. I studied Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism. I was a Christian for probably about 3 years, pretty heavily. And yeah, I also learned different things from various people in my hometown. We had a lot of hippies that would hang out around our downtown area. We had a lot of people from different countries, and we had lots of different food choices, like authentic from different countries, like Tibet, India, um, Greek, all kinds of different food that we had. So another big part of my story is my aunt was an energy healer. So she went through a 4 year course with Barbara Brennan School of Healing, and I was introduced to that at a pretty young age, I think probably 15 years old. So she taught me how to feel auras, how to see auras. Um, she taught me how to use pendulum and feel the chakras and all that stuff. She gave me a book, one of her study books that gave very detailed, um, very detailed pictures of what auras and chakras looked like. So this was kind of my introduction. I later got into experimenting with hallucinogens and all that stuff, which came later. But by the time I did that, I had already had all this base information, um, which just skyrocketed the downloads and the insights even more, because it was like I knew so much information already, and then it was like came full circle. So, so yeah, so when I first really started having some serious visions, I was probably somewhere in between sophomore and junior year. I was 15 or 16. I was young for my grade, so I think I was probably 15 in sophomore year and 16 in junior year. Um, but I started doing Kundalini yoga, and I'm not sure what happened. I'm guessing my Kundalini rose, and everything came to me. Um, I started having visions of it was like I was traveling on beams of light all across the universe, okay? And all across the universe, it went out and out and out and out, all the way expanding until it got to like the very farthest end of the universe. And then I traveled on this light and came back to the middle. And when that period came where I came back in through the light, back through time somehow, it was like I was able to then take that light with me from my experiences and start seeding other planets, okay? And I saw this vision of me flying with like golden hair and angel wings, and I was like carrying these little seeds of information and light, and I would go to these planets, and that was like what I would do. I didn't see like the details or anything, but it was like I was visiting different planets, and I was bringing gifts of like light with me, and information. So that is like the definition of what I feel like a star seed is. Um, During that time, my energy was extremely expanded and extremely intense. I remember one time I walked into my brother's room. Him and his girlfriend were like sitting around. The TV was off. Everything was off. They were just talking. And I came in, and he had an amp for his electric guitar and his TV. The amp automatically made this like giant like this noise. The TV turned on. It turned to blue. I was just filled with like this energy all around me. I felt like a tree was growing out of the top of my head, and like rivers of water was coming down. It was incredible and crazy, and my energy actually turned the TV on and made like noises. Um, let's see what else. And the other thing that really stands out in my mind when this awakening happened and all these visions happened is, one night I came down the stairs, from my room, and I was just like speaking in tongues like so fluidly. I mean, it wasn't stopping. There was nothing even thinking about it. It was just complete spirit coming out of my mouth. And at that point, my parents started really thinking I was crazy, and were thinking about sending me to the mental hospital. And I'm just sitting there like just speaking in tongues like for a while, and I'm just completely in the spirit, in this light during that time. And I remember feeling like I was like traveling on a spaceship like up in my room. My parents have this big tall house, it's 4 stories tall, and my room was at the very top story. It was just me, and I felt like I was like on a spaceship. Very crazy. So anyways, they ended up sending me to the mental hospital, which again I thought I had like initiated into the next dimension. Yeah, I was definitely out there. But anyways, finally I came back down and got grounded, and yeah, then it kind of tracked back to regular life after that. But anyways, so yeah, that's my story of finding out that I was a starseed and that I was awakened. It was a pretty beautiful vision that I will never forget. But I just wanted to touch base real quick on some of my Earth missions that I feel like I have. One of them being that I feel that I am supposed to connect different religions and, speak about how there are truths in all of them, and do my best to connect people to see that, whatever like God or spirit or source is, it's always the same in every single religion or spiritual path that I've found. There's always so much that's the same, and to me, what's the same, that's the truth. So when looking for the truth, I always look for what is the same, and that's the key. So that's one big thing. Another one is holistic health. So I'm very, very interested in how emotions get repressed and stored into the body and cause disease and manifest into addictions, behaviors, um, various different genetic, I wouldn't say mutations, but what I would call it is like a dent in the family line, and it's trauma. So a lot of it's trauma based. And one of my biggest things is to promote, releasing it through tears. I was a massage therapist in my early 20s, and I felt a lot of people's energy. I felt their pain, and at that point, I realized that pain was an energy, and it had a very, very dense, tangible feeling to it. It would come up into my arm, and it would get like stuck onto me. It ended up being very traumatic for me at that point in my life because I hadn't done enough of my own spiritual work. I had all kinds of holes in my aura, and it just stuck to me. And it was very traumatic because it was like taking on people's things. So I'm super big on understanding repression and understanding how it manifests into disease. So another part is, you know, unlocking the secrets of our genetics and our DNA, and working to heal our um, our ancestral and genetic trauma and our own soul's past life trauma. So those are some of the things that I'm really passionate about, and I hope to, get into deeper and help to spread messages about how we can all gain better healing. So that's my story, and I hope you guys liked it, and I will see you next time.